welcome. I wonder if you could both introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hi. My name's Annika. My collage is on the screen right now. I'm 19, about to be 20, halfway through my college career, whatever, who cares? That's me. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, and my name's Audrey Zelinka, and I'm 19 and also in college. And yeah, I do a lot of art in my free time, and this was a really cool project to be a part of.
Thanks, Annika, Audrey. Well, this one that we have up right now, Annika, what, do you usually do collage, or what kind of art mediums are you working in?
I rarely do collage actually, not because I dislike it. I think it's really neat. But I somehow only end up doing it if like someone tells me to do it, like, hey, here's a collage project like this. So that's why this was so great. But the medium I usually create in is just like painting, like typical acrylic painting stuff. I'm trying to get into like clay modeling with some air dry clay because it's like affordable enough and I don't need a massive kiln for that. And I'd also like to start getting into some resin stuff. So I've got the whole setup now for that. But yeah, I would say acrylic painting is my main medium with some drawing on the side, but yeah.
Cool. And what made you want to go for this collage project? I know it's like, someone asks and you'll go for it, but you have a certain ideas even before you started?
I didn't have any ideas of what I wanted to do before I started this. The main reason I was interested in it was just because like it was a Subspace event. And I remember before the pandemic, some of my best memories, like first coming to Tucson, were going to Subspace events and like getting to see all of the creative ish going on there. And I was just so excited, like, oh, Subspace is doing something again. Of course, I want to be a part of this. So that was like the primary motivator for me to get involved in this because I love Subspace. But yeah, once I heard the theme of, I think it was Cutting Up 2020 or something, I was like, all right, yeah, I can definitely do a lot with this. So I didn't really have an idea going in, but I just kind of went through all the magazines I got and I was like, oh, this could potentially be useful somehow. And yeah, what's on the paper is like maybe a third of all the things that I had to sort through that I cut out of magazines and whatnot. So this is kind of how my creative process tends to be. It's just like, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. And this was no different.
Yeah, I definitely followed the same process in doing mine. I cut out way too much and then had to just keep paring it back until it got to what I felt, what I meant. What can you tell us? Like, what sticks out to you now that you're looking at it again?
Yeah, so I think the thing that catches my eye the most when I look at this is the burning house. I just thought that that was a really nice visual when I first saw it, and it was massive. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be an eye grabber for sure. And I think that is I thought it was like pretty fair and accurate thematically, given the year of like a house burning down. And I like to think I'm a little funny, and I put a little embrace change sign on the house to kind of like draw a loose metaphor, like, oh, haha, this is America slash, whatever systems we have operating here. And with the whole like neoliberal sticker slapped on the face of it to make it look nice and pretty. So that's like kind of the house itself, I think sticks out to me a lot. But then the other portion I think that's kind of eye-grabbing to me at least is the quotes that I had blacked out some of the words for to kind of like change the message to create something that I thought was like appropriate. And it's basically this guy talking about how like, oh yeah, I don't hate cops. I hate like bad people. Oh, like not all cops are bad, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Like cops like operate and are the like arms and muscle of systems of oppression. So I'm just gonna switch this up. And then I found this whole section of a magazine that talked about these pigs like running wild somewhere. And I was like, I have a quote about cops. I have a bunch of little words that I can cut out for pigs. So let's do something with that. And so I had a lot of fun with that and making the little pig sty. This does not happen enough. I thought that that was fun. And I think that that tends to be another one of the first things that people read because it's just kind of like top left where you go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just kind of trying to encompass like what all 2020 was about to me. And it was like, oh, more people are finally becoming aware of how terrible cops are. Oh, like the whole slapping like pretty images on terrible systems of oppression is kind of starting to fall apart, hopefully in a public way that more people notice with the burning house. And kind of in the Spanish on the top right, I was leaning into that idea as well, with kind of like, you know, the government kind of represents the systems that hold everything in society in place. And so I think they definitely deserve a lot of criticism, especially considering the theme of this collage, which is ripping up 2020. So in the top right, it says, en los momentos más difíciles, fortalecimos el sistema de criminalización. So like in the most difficult moments, we fertilize the system of criminalization. And then in the other Spanish section, just below that, it says, así trabaja un gobierno que hace equipo con representantes del terrorismo. So like here works a government that makes a team with representatives of terrorism, aka the cops. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty fitting for this. And then that yellow section that's like highlighted, that was just like an interesting segment of some report or like some story that I saw in a magazine. And I was like, I don't know what this is talking about, but it just seems like generally ominous. And so that's when I shift into like kind of an apocalyptic theme in the bottom left corner. Because it's just like you hear those, or you see those buzzwords like muffled screams, frigid winter afternoon air, blue pickup truck, inconspicuous, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to slap a little zombie man with a nice little rainbow hat right on top of that. And then I did a little Spanglish mixing too, over the zombies. In tiempos de pandemia, in the pandemic times, there is no cure with zombies. So I was like, LOL, this is funny. The pandemic's definitely not going away. Oh, gee, we're all zombies. Haha. I don't know. I just kind of like, I didn't go for one specific theme for this. I kind of did a bunch of different ones, maybe under the overarching theme of like, man, this is falling apart. Things are really bad. People are becoming aware of these things that are bad. But the collage also looks pretty. So, hey, and yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say about this unless you have any questions, but that was kind of like all of the main areas of it.
No, not many more questions. It's good to hear the whole process, and it's definitely like visually striking, and yeah, it's got a lot of what I was thinking of last year. And that, the people in power definitely want to sort of sweep everything under the rug and say, okay, you know, let's get back to our little suburban little houses and everything. But
yeah. One more thing, I just like realized why I really enjoyed like collage as the medium for this so much. It's because kind of like I'm taking all of this, like we're taking all of this like material from magazines and news sources and stuff that in effect sometimes to a greater or lesser extent kind of just parrots whatever the systems that oppress us want them to. And so this was especially fun because I could take, you know, those words that weren't meant for this or those words that were in effect sweeping things under the rug or not addressing anything. And then it was fun because I got to make it into what I saw as more accurate to like our collective reality. And yeah, I don't know. I think I might start collaging more because that was really cool for that reason.
Yeah, definitely. I'm meeting with Ellery tonight to get ready for the next run of collages.
Oh yeah, she mentioned that. I'm like really excited for that. I'll probably participate in that one too.
And Audrey, did you interface with Annika when doing this collage, or how was that back then?
We absolutely did. We both, when the second Subspace posted that this was happening, we both like DM'd each other the post, and we were like, we should do this. Are you going to do this? Are you going to sign up? And then I was in Tempe at the time, but I went down to Tucson, and we were like met up at some point and worked on it together and sent each other our ideas and pictures and stuff. So yeah, we absolutely kind of worked on it together.
It's a collaborative event.
Exactly.
And well, Audrey, you have any comments on Annika's work here?
I love it. I love the embrace change queer things, and I think it's very funny with the house burning down. And yeah, weird shadowy figure. And also I do hate cops, I hate bullies, I hate racists, fuck a pig or whatever. That whole section at the top I think is like clever and like subversing whatever the original message, yada yada yada, to be.
Like, OMG, not all cops.
Yeah, not all cops are bad. It's like, well, actually, yes, they are. But whatever. But I love their work, and I think it's super cool.
Also, really quick, the microphone's on the bottom of the computer. Dope. This thing's super lame, so just so you're aware, so you don't get all quiet.
Well, great. Okay, Audrey, let's jump over to yours.
So fun! I can't wait to see yours again.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a great side effect, is that we're going to be able to look back on the work we made.
Yes.
Well, Audrey, what kind of art do you usually do?
I paint mostly. That's the big thing, and I knit a lot. So I do like crochet, knit, like handicraft stuff, and I paint a whole bunch. And I do collage sometimes, like Annika said, it's usually like more like for a project or in like a group setting. It's not like my main form of art, but I'm super into it, and I think it's really fun.
Nice. And you mentioned you saw the post Subspace put up and you got excited. And did you have any ideas before you started?
I knew I wanted to make it like sort of like Annika's, like critical of systems that are currently in place, and have it like say something or mean something more than just like 2020 sucked, because I do absolutely agree with that, but it's like it sucked for reasons, you know. It like didn't have to suck this bad. Like there were specific institutions and people and events and systems that made it like harder for everybody. And so I wanted to kind of have like commentary on the fact that like, or when I was going into it, I wanted to have it be something about something critical, like some critical analysis of something. And I wasn't really sure what at first.
Okay. And, you know, there was a whole mix of magazines we sent out. Were there any surprises in the material we sent?
Absolutely. I think Annika and I both got a sports magazine, and we definitely are not big sports people. So we were like, oh God, how am I going to use this like magazine about soccer in my collage?
I think I got all of my pig words out of the sports magazine somehow. There was like a random section like with a story about these crazy pigs. And I was like, all right, thank you, sports magazine.
Right? Yeah. Right. And like, I got one about like the DEA or something.
Yeah, wasn't it in Spanish?
It was a magazine in Spanish about the DEA, and I was like, yeah, we kind of swapped around and sort of used parts of each other's, but I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, oh God, how am I going to use this DEA magazine? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, there was some material we thought would be a bit challenging, and or just, you know, push people to interact with it, whether it's like that I never interact with sports magazines, and so it's a little change up.
No, I thought that was really cool.
And so what made it to the final piece that we're seeing here? How did you decide on that?
Okay, so I basically took, like, similar to Annika, similar to I think how a lot of people collage, I cut out a lot of stuff that I liked from different magazines and just like, I'm going to try to use this some way. But so the funny part is the sports magazine had an Olympic athlete section. So it had a whole part about how these Olympic athletes train, and they had a photographer, like, obviously take these like big, beautiful, contrasted, like black and white pictures of the athletes. And so if you look at the body in the picture, the arm, it has the little like Olympic symbol tattooed, like on the bottom left, which I've covered up with other stuff. But like that was like an Olympic, like weightlifter maybe, like, yeah, exactly, right there. So that was from the sports magazine, and I liked the like really detailed body picture, and like just about how like it was kind of like a weird chunk of like the whole page was just that person's body, and I thought that was a cool image.
I really like how fleshy your collage is.
Thank you.
I'll say that until the end.
But yeah, and so yeah, and then the like meat and all the other stuff I was super attracted to, but that isn't even meat, and all the side stuff. Okay, so all the like chunky red stuff in the middle is rhubarb, and that was from a Rachel Ray cooking magazine.
Oh my God, you're right.
And I saw it and I was like, that looks like bloody meat. Like, it looks like you chopped up like gross chunks of like bloody meat or something. And I just thought that like visual was super cool. And so I was like, absolutely using the rhubarb. And then yeah, on the outside, that's just like devil's food cake, like black cake is like the spongy outside black pieces. And then the slimy red around the side is just red hummus. It's like beet hummus or something. What? So, right, most of it's food.
Tasty. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was just like fun to use all of those things, because I was like, these weren't coming from, like, they look like, they're not what they look like. And then, yeah, all the words I took from, there was an LGBT magazine that was like, about just like LGBT life and culture. And that's where I got all the little trans from. And then the warning, state murder, measured destruction, there is no forgiveness was from some like political commentary magazine or like something like that. And it was just an article about police brutality and stuff like that. And I obviously took a bunch of the words out of context on purpose. And yeah, so throwing that all together was like really an interesting process.
Yeah, and then lastly, here in this bottom corner,
mm-hmm.
That's safe. And so, was there, like you said, there were some specific reasons why things were worse than they should have been, but is there also a hopeful side or a coming together that's part of 2020?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, part of what I feel like this piece means is that, like, personally, when I was making it, was that despite the state murder, the measured destruction, and the fact that there's no forgiveness, and that, like, that the government, that society has entirely failed trans people and subjected them to tons of violence over like the past 1,000 years, that we keep each other safe and that we protect each other, and it's out of necessity, which sucks, and that we should just be able to live like normal, healthy, happy lives. But it is inspiring and hopeful and important that like trans people have each other and that we can protect each other and keep each other safe.
Yeah. And Annika, you did the both of you got to see each other's work in progress, or just closer to the end when you're both done?
Yeah, so when we were working together, it was when we were first just starting it. So we saw each other's process from the very beginning to however far we got in the few hours that we were working on it. And then, yeah, I wasn't sure at all what Audrey's was going to look like. And then I saw it and I was like losing my mind because I love it so much.
Nice. Yeah. Any other thoughts you have, Annika, on this piece?
This was so fantastic. Let me think. I mean, yeah, I think what Audrey was saying about like, despite all of these terrible things, like trans people are there for trans people. And I think that it's a really cool piece because not only because of that and like obviously the materialization of like trans solidarity and just solidarity in general, but I also just love how like freaky and fleshy it looks. It takes the human form and it definitely like perverts it or like distorts it into something that like looks like gross and weird and like the other. And I really like how they took that concept of the other and kind of turned it on its head and made it into something that's really cool and visually striking and like something that makes me feel really good when I look at like with all the little trans labels on it, because it's like when you look at it from a societal perspective, like trans people are viewed explicitly as the other, no matter which way you look at it, no matter like how far we've progressed, like, yeah, things are better, yada, yada. But like, regardless, trans people are still the other. And so they, in a sense, like what this feels like to me, at least from my interpretation, is that they're taking the concept of the other and the otherness, which has been thrust upon trans people and other people in the outgroups, and they are turning it on its head and they're subverting that and they're reclaiming this otherness and turning it into something beautiful. And I think that that's what being trans is all about, really. And it's just such a fantastic piece because they took that idea and they materially manifested it. And yada, yada. I love this so much. Like, I still freak out about it. It's so cool.
Right on. Yeah, I had a thought that some of this collage work can be the, I don't know what you call it, the pre-work to actual like painting, and almost as if you're putting together these things in such a contrast, and then take that collage and actually make a piece that tries to capture that energy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be, I don't know if that would be more potent, or maybe it's just a way to digest and then use your usual medium to make something.
Yeah, well, like one of the things I love about collaging versus painting versus knitting versus drawing versus anything else is you're confined to what you can find, like in the magazine, like period, end of story. You can't just like make stuff out of thin air. You can't just paint or draw whatever is in your brain. You have to like find all these little pieces and find all this stuff.
It's
and like
so crazy.
Even if you want to make like a blue sky in the background, you have to go and cut out like 100 little clippings of blue from all the magazines you're looking at, and it takes forever. But that's kind of what's cool, is that like you can only work with what you're given. So I think sometimes collaging is like much harder than a lot of other things, because you have to like just seriously like make everything fit together. And if you want to like find certain words or find certain like images, you have to make them yourself. And I think that's like pretty cool.
Right. Both of these works definitely, they draw me in. It's it like begs for a deeper look, like, hey, don't walk on, like look closer at what is being put, because every single thing, like you said, you have to find it from the source material, and it's there for a reason.
Yeah, precisely.
So it'd be safe to say you both enjoyed this kind of project. What if when we do the next collage call to people, what you have any ideas or inspiration?
I think that the whole prompt of cutting up 2020 is so good because it's like so up to whoever is making the collage. Like everybody had different experiences and felt different ways and had different issues and things they wanted to like make into art. So I like that like huge openness, and I like the personality of that. So like any other prompt that has to do with like introspection and like looking inside yourself and what like your as a psych major sitting here, just all of them looking inward. I think that's important, and people don't do that enough.
Like, where's your freak?
Where's your freak? Find your freak, dude. Let your freak flag fly. Like, let's find it.
Maybe that could be the quote unquote, like the tagline for the next series. Part of me was worried that we might do something cliche. Can you think of something Ellery and I should avoid? Is there something that we shouldn't do, or yeah?
Let me think.
I know that's a hard one, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like just the trying to like go too saccharine and trying to like because okay, so magazines are like there to advertise to you, right, and to like put media in your face. So to try to take all of that media and make it dark and make it subversive and make it weird and make it freaky is pretty hard, and I think that's like a big part, that's like a cool part of it. So just only if the prompt were to be like, you know, whatever, you know, a lot of people collage like dream and vision boards and their favorite things, and like there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like it doesn't require you to like think super hard and think about how you can turn things to like look ugly or to look gross, and like that's kind of like important to do with art sometimes, like make people look at gross things. Like I think mine's pretty gross and I'm proud of that.
I think, yeah, as long as the theme has ample room for subversion of source material, that would be like cool and challenging and elicit an artistic process. Like, yeah, I think like Audrey said, just like staying away from the live, laugh, love type themes. I don't even know what that would look like, but
right. Yeah, because and the reason I ask is because Ellery and I get into the long chats about where things are headed in the world, or just and how, yeah, there can be a lot of that kind of positivity that is toxic, that is a bit too much. And yeah, seeing some jarring things, especially from magazines that are trying to sell us a shiny world. Making a jarring statement is what I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm super into that.
Yeah, I think that's fun too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we finish up?
This was just a super cool project, and like thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, no, this was like really exciting. This made my whole like month when it was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to do something I actually enjoy. What? So yeah, I think this was cool.
Yeah, thanks for putting the time and effort. And it's good to see what creative people are thinking and feeling and how you're processing it all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for reaching out and interviewing us as well.
Yeah, this was super fun.
Yeah. You have any comments on that? Are there other things that I could do that are like informal and, I don't know, talking about art and artists? You have any suggestions?
Maybe like getting an artist statement for the piece, and then like on the Subspace Instagram or whatever, just like post a picture of each collage with the artist statement, like just on the Instagram story or whatever. Like it doesn't even have to be permanent, but like that could be just so like people who can't come to the gallery to see it could still like see it on the Instagram maybe, or like whatever. That just like is a pretty like little accessible way.
Yeah, and like obviously like not everyone's probably going to respond with this statement, so it could be an optional thing like, oh, you know, if you want me to do this, yada yada.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's, as you know, as Subspace, we have things are like done DIY. So it's, yeah, some things get put by the side. And we don't, yeah, we don't get artist statements and a deeper dive into what the artists are doing.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, if you're looking for something in addition to do, like, besides what you guys have already been doing, I think that's a great idea that Audrey had.
Yeah. Well, great. All right. Thanks. Thanks for spending some time with me in the morning to go over this collage work, and hopefully you join us for the next round. Hopefully that comes up soon.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
I think we're both super excited.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, then have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.